Let me get this straight. Battlefield, a game that has historically never gotten even close to the numbers that COD has pulled over the years, has not only outperformed, but some might agree with me, humiliated Call of Duty with the release of Battlefield 6. The internet is going off on COD. It's exaggerated, it's egregious, it's disrespectful, it's toxic, but I am here for the tea. What's up, guys? My name is Goo. I make commentary style videos on the latest games released, and today we're revisiting Battlefield 6 now that it's had a full release. But I wanted to do things a little bit different this time. Since Call of Duty is so prevalent in a conversation when you bring up Battlefield 6, I want to talk about the drastic power shift from COD to Battlefield with the release of this new game. I personally think Battlefield 6 is a banger game, and we'll talk about it later on in the video. But first, why is it that COD became the punching bag whenever Battlefield 6 released, when historically it's always been very distinct difference in player base? I have a theory, but first I have a confession to make. I was a Call of Duty kid. I think I played through the campaign of Battlefield Bad Company when I was young, which, by the way, fantastic game, okay? But I was primarily invested in Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3. Those really had me by the imaginary balls, man. They consumed me in an unhealthy way. But over the years, I fell off of COD, and it wasn't for the same reasons that a lot of people have been hating on COD for in the last couple years. I didn't really care about skill-based matchmaking or the movement changes. It was the core gameplay that became repetitive and underwhelming to me. I'm gonna say it. I don't care about your camo grinds. Camo grind became just that for me, a grind. And my love for the game dwindled like my will to live in Minecraft. But then Warzone dropped and added a completely different way to play the game. It capitalized on the popularity of battle royales, adding its own spin to it while having the gunplay that many loved from the Call of Duty games. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for saying this, but listen, COD has been around for a very long time, and it's refined their gameplay over the years. Objectively, it's got very good gunplay. You can get into the specifics like the TTK and movement, but all of that comes down to personal preference. And it's the reason why there's always been people that prefer Battlefield over COD, or Halo over Battlefield, or Overwatch over Halo. They're meant to play different, but essentially they all shine in their own way. Anyway, Warzone dropped and it was fire. It took over social media, everybody was playing it, numbers were booming. All-time player peak for Steam alone was a little under 500,000, and it was just hot shit for a good year. But then Blizzard did a fucking dumb and got greedy, and here's where I personally completely lost all respect for COD. That's me. I don't think this is where the masses started dropping like flies, but this is definitely not doing good for their reputation. It started chipping away at their reputation. Instead of addressing the very prevalent cheater issue in both Warzone and their mainline titles, they focused on pushing the season pass down people's throats. Shitty business practices like putting the storefront on every tab, forcing you to look at the latest skins they dropped for outrageous prices. Every update, all they dropped was skins and bugs. You want a new bug? No. You want a new skin? Well, you get both. That's all they did for over a year while actively ignoring cheating, optimization, fixing gameplay, you know, just the things that people actually want in games or whatever. Or so I thought. I mean, it seems like people wanted skins because the company makes billions. And I said billions with a B, like bitch, on things like cosmetics alone. So honestly, from a business standpoint, I get it. You're focusing your time and resources on the things that are making you money. The thing is, the reputation will catch up to these companies eventually. And the longer they ignored the core gameplay issues, the more they stained their reputation. Why do you think industry giants like Ubisoft get hit with poo-poo numbers on their stocks? It's years of putting out lukewarm bullshit that gets people to stop caring about their game, creating this horrible reputation behind a company that is essentially ruining its sales numbers. And I mean, there's a lot more that goes into that, but I'm not a finance guru. I'm just a stupid YouTuber. Then Blizzard tried to put a band-aid on a broken bone by launching their anti-cheat campaign, which was absolute cringe. I'm gonna talk about this off of memory because I tried really hard to find this video, but I could not find it for the life of me. It happened a while ago, so I get that, but when I searched for it on YouTube, I just got Battlefield 6 campaign pop up, which is so funny to me. It's just a search engine giving people what they want. Anyway, their ad for this campaign basically went like this. Hi guys, I'm a cheater. Wow, COD, you actually banned me. I've been cheating my whole life and you actually caught me this time. This is really impressive. This new anti-cheat is working so well. And then some text on screen that just said, "We're coming for you, cheaters," or some dumb shit. It's so bad. If somebody has it, please just link it down below because I will kiss you on the forehead. Not really. I don't want to touch any of you. Basically, it was too little too late. They were patting themselves on the back for finally implementing something a year late that should have been the standard from the beginning in a competitive shooter. This was a turning point for Call of Duty, and although they continued to drop titles that sold significantly well, their critiques and complaints and hate grew louder during this time period more than ever before. I had personally already jumped ship, unfortunately landing in Battlefield 2042, which was another mess. Boring Bug Simulator 2042 when it first came out. Thankfully, I had a buddy who was a huge Battlefield fan and introduced me to Battlefield 1, and although I didn't play the game at its peak, I understood the hype behind it and came to love that style of gunplay as well. It seemed almost hypocritical to read the mass amount of hate online towards Call of Duty and then turning around and seeing each game outperform the last on release. 2020, Black Ops Cold War, 30 million copies sold. 2022, Modern Warfare 2, 1 billion in sales within the first 10 days of release. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 finished as the best-selling premium video game of 2024, making Call of Duty the best-selling video game franchise in the US for a record 16 consecutive years. With the Call of Duty player base stewing in this pot of hatred, I asked myself, why the fuck are people still playing a game that they hate? This is the best that I could come up with. There just wasn't anything competing with it. There's been games over the years that have tried tapping into that player base, but nothing has stuck. X-Defiant, for example, campaigned as the literal COD killer, quote unquote, highlighting things that people complained about in COD as their main selling point for their game. No skill-based matchmaking was a big hitter there, but it wasn't maintained properly. It had an awful launch with very little content, and worst of all, had operators locked behind grind and paywalls. I love bringing this one up because I got so much hate for saying it wouldn't last when I put out my video on it, and then it didn't last. There's so many people that just exclusively play shooters. They don't play any other type of game, and that alone I think is why it's so hard for the COD community to not be hypocrites. They criticize the game because they want it to be better, which makes sense, and they hate on it because it hasn't changed. And now Battlefield came to play.
It's just one of those days.
This game works, man. The gunplay is very satisfying. The class system works well. The utility items are fun to use. It's got more of a focus on team play, which is a huge plus for me personally, because that's what I really like. But I haven't had too many randos that actually want to play as a team.
I need a fucking medic. Nope.
It's when I play with a squad with my buddies that it's chaotic fun. Map destruction is cinema, and overall the game is designed in a way that makes it feel like every match is a blank canvas. A sandbox that gives players the freedom to create their own chaotic experiences, which makes for some of the funniest clips.
Get ready.
Goddamn plan!
It's not perfect. It could use some balancing for some of the guns. Sometimes the servers feel like the tick rate is really high, and there's a lot of little animation bugs here and there. But it's got a great foundation, and from what I've seen, the devs seem to be actively listening to feedback. I know that some of the OGs from the community will have different takes on how this game compares to the other titles, likes and dislikes and changes, so I'd love to read through some of that down in the comments if you guys are willing to share. It launched with 8 game modes and 9 maps, and looking at the roadmap for future content, they already have some free stuff planned to release, which is awesome to see. Already, this is miles better than X-Defiant ever was, showcasing that the free-to-play model isn't the only way to release a game nowadays. Call of Duty has been a sinking ship for a long time, and people finally have a yacht to jump onto, so it's very appealing. So that's my theory, man. It's a game that appeals to the masses just by being really fucking good. It made its already existing community happy by being one of the better Battlefields to come out in years, and also managed to turn another franchise's community against them without having to sacrifice the Battlefield identity to do so. Pretty big flex if you ask me. It didn't add any goofy skins or cater to a camo grind, and it didn't need to be more like Call of Duty to be successful. It just needed to be a good game.
Okay, boys, we're here to do one thing. one.
Who was that?
Doesn't matter. Let's move.
COD being hated by Battlefield purists is one thing. COD being hated by its own community is just embarrassing. There's a huge divide between OG Battlefield fans and incoming COD players that I think stems from the fear that the devs might cater to adding game modes and gameplay changes to Battlefield that resemble COD. And I get it. You want the game that has essentially been working on a formula for the past 20 years to stay true to that formula. That's also why Battle Royale is a hot topic here. It would be adding a game mode that doesn't necessarily mesh well with Battlefield gunplay. It worked well in COD, but that was because of the fast-paced nature of the game. And had they actually put more effort into maintaining the core gameplay rather than putting all this time and resources into bullshit, I think Warzone would be way more popular today. Personally, I don't think Battlefield needs a BR to be successful. It just needs to build on what it's already established and maintain the integrity of the game by shooing away pathetic, insecure little bitch waste of space cheaters. Fuck cheaters. Imagine paying for a game just to pay for a service that plays the game for you. Couldn't be me. Anyway, the only way a Battle Royale would actually be a good thing for Battlefield 6 is if they continue to prioritize the core game without getting greedy, without tainting the formula that the core community has loved in Battlefield games over the years, and that's gonna be tough. It's like developing and working on two different games at once, and if they have the time and resources to pull that off, more power to them. But you can't blame the community for essentially not wanting a BR out of fear it'll cost them the game they love. With that being said, there is a toxic side to all of this. And although I live for the chaos, I think this whole get out of my game, Call of Duty nerds thing is getting out of hand. If anybody has critiques or feedback or suggestions for Battlefield 6, it almost always gets dismissed by just saying that they're Call of Duty fanboys. Liking COD has become an insult over the years, I guess. Everything from announcements to advertising to marketing that COD has put out seems to be overshadowed by this massive entity that is Battlefield 6. Here's the comments under the reveal trailer. This actually made me pre-order Battlefield 6. For people who don't have the extension to watch the dislike ratio, 68k likes, 523,000 dislikes. Fuck's sake. Black Ops is starting to feel like the Fast and Furious video games. Damn. Best advertisement for Battlefield 6. Can't even have a trailer without showing off the bundles. You know what?
Reznov Challenge Pack when you pre-order now.
This is the best Battlefield 6 ad I've seen yet. My expectations were on the floor and you guys brought a shovel. People saying COD is getting way too much hate. I personally don't think they're getting enough. Ain't no way they thought shooting the wall was trailer worthy. Looks like I'm spending time with my family. Looking at the numbers is where it gets embarrassing. Black Ops 7 open beta peaked at 99,000 players on Steam, but keep in mind that this number is a combined count of Black Ops 7, Black Ops 6, and Warzone because the launcher combines them all for some reason. Battlefield 6 open beta peaked at over 500,000 people. That's 5 times the player count of all 3 of those games. And even after its launch, it went up. Battlefield 6 peaked at 750,000 on Steam alone. But it gets worse. Since the start of the Black Ops 7 beta, Battlefield 6 pre-orders surged back up to #1 on Steam global sales charts. What is charts? While Black Ops 7 pre-order... God damn it, dude. I can't talk today. While Black Ops 7 pre-orders went from number 66 to 102 as of October 8th. So they went down in the standing after their beta. And just for context, last year around this time, Black Ops 6 was #1 in pre-orders. I'm getting secondhand embarrassment from this shit, man. You guys remember how COD was like a massive point of debate whenever Microsoft was acquiring Blizzard? PlayStation was literally throwing a fit saying that Microsoft could monopolize the entire gaming industry just by owning COD alone. And now look at these numbers. That seems a little silly. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Call of Duty is going anywhere. They might see a hit in their sales, especially this year with Black Ops 7, but I think that they have plenty of people that'll continue to buy their games and continue to back the franchise. They might be getting dragged through the mud and thoroughly humiliated right now, but at the end of the day, competition will make for better games. It's not just a want, but a need to appeal to public demand that will bring much needed changes. And I'm very curious to see what comes from this in the future once everything kind of dies down. Yearly releases, in my opinion, are just kind of ridiculous on their own, even if they have different development studios working on different games. The way that I see it, if you bought a Call of Duty game every year on its release, you've practically been paying a yearly subscription of $70 or so for new maps, bro. That's it. It would be cool to see them take a step back and develop a game for a couple of years, making something really incredible with a huge budget. Kind of like how Battlefield 6 did. Maybe take a page from their book. It seems to work. What do I I know? I'm just a stupid YouTuber. Subscribe if you want to see more like this in the future, and like the video because it does help me out a ton. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Ghost of Yote stands out to me because it is beautiful inside and out. I sound like I'm making a love poem for a high school class. Let me rephrase that. It's a visually stunning game, and the mechanics, the gameplay, and the experiences overall match the quality of it.